And in particular, not just admin, but a lot of the core development, very strong development, and not just Salesforce as the platform only, but some of the additional tools and products that are available in Salesforce as well. So we've been working with them. So let me start with a car dealership, a scenario. Why? Because ultimately we know that Salesforce is a platform that is there for us to produce solutions, right? An entire solution, not just to solve a particular problem, but to provide an entire solution. So let's start with an example of a car dealership. A car dealership maybe in the US or in Europe, right? Perhaps it's a car dealership that isn't there yet, but soon could be there. The potential for something like this can be there. So the journey starts with a potential customer, myself or any one of you, who wants to understand, okay, I want to buy a car. Recently, if you've been in the US and lately after the pandemic or during the pandemic, if you wanted to buy a used car even, you couldn't find one. And if you found one, it was way, way more expensive than you'd ever thought. But anyways, with this car dealership, you go to their website and you browse through their models, what's available, maybe a brand new car or maybe a used car. And you go through some configurations, some checks and balances. Okay, this is how much it approximately costs. Should I go with a brand new one? Should I go? What are the offers, right? Is it near Christmas time? So are they giving us good sales, good deals? Or is it President's Day sale, which is just February? We just went through it in US. So are there offers? Should I take advantage of that? Should I, oh, look, on this website, if I click here, I can enter my details and they will send me an offer that if I buy in the future from them, that maybe for 1 year the car servicing will be free. Why not take that offer? Let me fill it up. And that's where the journey starts, a website visit, right? But behind the scenes, you have technology that is enabling you to really understand the customer, right? The journey that this customer is going to have with you and engage throughout the cycle of going from an interest all the way to being a customer and later on being maintained, the car being maintained by you, the dealership. So we start with that initial entry point. However, that's just an entry point. Could I have a chair here, please? Just a small chair, a tool, anything, so I can keep this safely. So from a perspective of where that journey, so from that perspective, from the perspective of the customer journey, that initial engagement with the website seemed quite benign. It seemed quite, okay, I'm looking through, but there's a lot of data that is getting captured, right? From which region are you coming in, right? If you had filled out the form, where do you live? What's your name, right? What's your contact information? So they're capturing that. Behind the scenes, if you're setting up a link with Salesforce, now you have a potential customer that you have added to your backend, right? Now you can start a campaign that you can start nurturing that customer. If they have left, if they don't come back, maybe you can send them an email. How many of you have visited a website and then later on seen ads of that same product when you're visiting other websites, right? So this is the sort of thing that you can engage, and there are some powerful tools that you can combine and use within Salesforce to do that. That's just the starting point. Let's say that you do engage with the customer through a campaign, right? So once that campaign is started, you are now talking to the customer in an intelligent way. Perhaps you can understand their demographics. Feed that information. Are they living in an affluent community of your area? Are they affluent? Do they have money, right? So in that case, that type of a person, what type of car will they purchase? What age range do they come with, right? So depending on your age, they might be able to understand, okay, this is the type of car they would most likely purchase, right? If they're coming in as a male versus a female, there might be additional differences. So there's a lot of analytics that can be applied. AI analytics, so we have Einstein, we have cognitive services that are available, whether you use the ecosystem within Salesforce or you bring in something from outside, you can always integrate, right? So Salesforce is now being used to try and understand the customer better. Once you have an understanding of the customer, you now move on and say, what can I do to see if that customer can actually, or potential customer can actually go ahead and purchase a car, right? What would motivate that person? So Salesforce allows you to understand all of this and nurture that customer. So what does this mean for you? If you are being asked to set up an org, to set up some flows, to set up some triggers, etc., that's great. But the real power is if you understand the cycle that you're trying to produce, the solution, the end-to-end solution, all the way to the purchase of the car. And after the purchase of the car, how do you engage with the customer continuously so that their maintenance is done at that dealership, right? Because there's revenue behind that. And once that customer is 3, 4, 5 years old, that means that car is 3, 4, 5 years old. Maybe it's time for them to switch and change that car. They should be able to come to you as the first choice. And if their experience of working with you is positive, they'll come to you as their first choice. And that engagement has to start and remain digital, right? And that is the key where you can use Salesforce to enable yourself as a company to really produce that sort of positive impact for the technology. So you, as someone who develops solutions in Salesforce, must understand what are the tools that are available with you. I have this very bad habit of speaking a lot over time, so I'm just going to try and move faster here. So you have to understand what is available in the ecosystem of Salesforce and also outside, because there are tools that you can integrate with Salesforce. And that's what you've got to understand. It's not only easy enough to say, all right, I know the admin piece, I know how to develop code, maybe Apex, and that's it. I'm going to be told what to do. Great. If you want to remain a developer, if you want to remain a programmer or an admin, fine. You continue doing that. But if you want to be a solution provider, someone who solves problems, someone who is a go-to person, that means I will go to you to handle my issues. You solve it for me. In that case, you've got to know the entire ecosystem. Right? I've talked about this in the past. So I've kind of rambled on this a little bit. So let's go ahead and talk about upskilling, skilling up. What does that mean? Basically, it's to equip yourself. It's to give yourself the tools necessary to really be productive, to really be engaged with your work and your customers, and really to be able to achieve success, right? So understanding your tool set is absolutely key. But before that, let's talk about things that are outside of Salesforce that I need to develop, right? So first of all, you've got to have the consulting mindset, and that is key. That means, what does that mean? Consulting mindset. See, in Bangladesh, you have the concept of a consultant who just gets engaged in a project, who writes a report, and that's done, they're done. That's the concept, they get paid, right? Big bucks to write a report. That's really not what it is, right? A consultant will come in, situation, look at the entire context, solution that you've got to approach things with, right? What is in your arsenal of tools that you can provide in your work environment so that you can provide that solution, that optimal solution? That's the consulting mindset. Can I ask the right questions to get to the solution? Can I learn the business of a car dealership? How do I understand the real pain points of my customer? It's by understanding their business. What are they trying to achieve? Why are they trying to achieve it? Right? Get into that mindset. And once you understand that, you've got to start understanding the customer. Right? Understand the customer. Go into a journey, walk in their shoes. Right? That means be the customer. That quality of empathy, understanding the customer is key. Because without that, you can't produce work that will be useful for them, right? Now, one of the major things that I've learned throughout my 30 plus years in this industry is that we've got to always stay hungry. Hungry in terms of knowledge and curiosity. What's out there? What are the trends? Who is doing what? Right? And that's the key. Be curious and constantly learn. Learn about technology, of course, otherwise you'll be irrelevant. But learn about how the world around you is changing, evolving. How is technology being used? That's the key, right? And listen to whoever you're interacting with. Learn to listen and communicate effectively. If you don't do that, then really you cannot move to the next level. Now let's get to Salesforce itself. So I'm not going to talk about learn this tool or that tool, but I'm going to talk about a little bit from a higher level. So start with fundamentals. In other words, understand the power of Salesforce from a base perspective. What is it used for? Yes, CRM and all that is good. But in addition, what is the concept of the CRM at a core, and how is it enhanced by the Salesforce ecosystem? So understand the fundamentals, don't skip it. Right? Take time to learn thoroughly. Go deep. Right? When you're learning about the admin of Salesforce, don't just learn enough so that you can pass that exam. I know we have a tendency to do that, but learn so that you really own the subject matter, right? Ownership. That means this is mine. Nobody can tell me otherwise, right? So this is the key. Take time to learn thoroughly. There are no shortcuts to deep knowledge. That's key, right? Certifications and trailheads, achieve those with sincerity. I'm not going to say anything more about that. All of you know what I'm talking about, right? Achieve it with sincerity. Learn and then go through these certifications by really doing the hard work. Learn about the ecosystem within Salesforce as wide as possible, right? So the first thing is go as wide as possible, understand what's there. What are the options? And then take a few of those and go as deep as you can, right? You can't be an expert in everything, so try and go as deep as you can in a few of them, and you become an expert in those areas. Ask the question, what is possible with Salesforce, right? What is possible with Salesforce? And it's a very wide and open question. There's a lot of answers, and really it depends how the budget is, what is the context, what's the domain, and what are your strengths, what are your skill sets, right? All of that is tied together. Integration of Salesforce, right, with non-Salesforce technologies, that's also key. It's not only important to just stay within Salesforce, but know what's available to you outside. So for example, do I need to integrate with DocuSign? Right? Do I need to integrate with some other APIs? And finally, invest your time in practicing, right? So you've heard that practice makes perfect, etc., all those good words, but there's really no other mechanism for you to understand and really skill up other than having that practice. If you don't have a customer in front of you, if you're not working full-time in an environment where you're doing Salesforce, take time to actually go through and work with others in this community and see if there's a way to volunteer and provide a solution somewhere. See if you can come up with a fictitious project. Hands-on time is key. If you can't just learn, go through trailheads and claim to have expertise. Right? Are we doing on time? Time? All right, we're almost there. A couple of slides. All right, so what's the opportunity? Salesforce, as I think all of you know, is growing in an extremely rapid rate worldwide. It has a fanatical following. In other words, people who are into Salesforce are truly into Salesforce. That's it, they don't know anything else, right? And I've seen this in Salesforce conferences in California, when I've been to several of them. And it is very apparent that these people are really gung-ho. They're very excited about this Salesforce ecosystem. That's the excitement that you need to have. I know it's hard to achieve that from so far away from headquarters of Salesforce, but this is the right beginning. This is the right place for us, all of us, to build that excitement. So it's not up to others to make us excited. We've got to excite ourselves up into this ecosystem, right? So Salesforce basically allows users, super users, and techies to be in the same platform at various levels and to be part of a solution, right? And that's very interesting. They were one of the first, or the earlier ones, were able to recognize the power of bringing all of these people together, these types of people together in one ecosystem. They were ahead of the curve there. We all know about the no coding and full coding capability, right? So there's a wide range there. Salesforce, as a company, has tripled its revenue in the last 5 years, right? So it's a growing company. It's not going anywhere, and they're projected to grow double from now till end of 2026. So it's the worldwide market is simply growing further, right? So you can be confident that there is a growing market behind this software. And Salesforce itself is operating in such a way that it's a strong growth market. This whole ecosystem that they've created, and they are the largest player in CRM, right? So that should be enough motivation to say, yes, this is the opportunity. I am going to attach myself to this and really push hard, right? I'm sure the Salesforce folks are going to be able to say a lot more precisely about that. But here, I'm going to throw one more thing. And that is, today, this is the Salesforce community. Are we happy with the size? I would clearly think no, right? From an employer perspective, our journey started more than 10 years ago, right? We have worked consistently across the years with large customers, enterprise customers, in healthcare, in telecommunications. We've worked with small startups with Salesforce, right? So we've seen both sides. And for us, it's important that we grow our profile, not only as a company, but as a country, as a community, and as a country. So in other words, Bangladesh has the opportunity to really become a powerhouse in Salesforce. Only if all of you want it, right? You've got to want it. How do you get there? Well, basically, as I said, we've had humble beginnings. Microsoft started over 10 years ago in Salesforce. But how do we go from here to there? Each one of you have to be a champion of Salesforce. What does it mean to be a champion? Take the opportunity to tell your colleagues who are outside of the Salesforce ecosystem about Salesforce. If you know people who are entering the computer science field at the university, tell them to study hard, but also explain to them that there is something called Salesforce and how exciting it is. Right? All of you, by word of mouth first, but also by educating people, right? If you know technology, if you know something about Salesforce, get out there and teach. Right? I spent over 10 years of my career teaching as a Microsoft certified trainer. This is before the days of .NET, as well as the first days of .NET, and later on. Teaching is really the best way that you can enforce your own knowledge, and you feel good about teaching to others. Right? It's a community service, even though you're getting paid for it. So the challenge on hand, can we transform Bangladesh into a Salesforce powerhouse? And I think, to me, I truly believe that we can. Right? Yes, we have India next to us. We have Vietnam, we have China, we have all sorts of competitors out there. But this is a technology that we can go ahead and move forward with. Can we become a known destination for Salesforce? Yes, absolutely we can. How do we have an impact in Bangladesh? It's by increasing our sales. It's by making sure that we grow as a community and that we become that strength in Bangladesh for Salesforce. Right? So I hope some of this was useful. I really appreciate your time for going through all of this. If you have any questions, I'll be around. I don't think we have time for questions. Thank you very much.